My wife Gretchen and I were invited by a friend who was a regular attendee of the church, and we thought about it, and we were actively seeking a new church and new church family at the time. And we were putting it off for a while, and we were searching other churches in the area. And finally, we looked at each other one midweek, and we said, why don't we give that Celebration Church a try?
I prayed to God, about placing me in a church home that was close to where I lived and where I can grow and get involved. And I remember after about 5 to 6 months, I prayed and said, God, you said that this would, God, I asked that this would be a speedy process. So what's taking so long, I don't understand. And he was more or less like, I placed you there a while ago. What's taking you so long? So that's when I realized, wow, I've been here. That's why I keep coming back.
I remember one Saturday night, right before I came to Celebration Church, I was driving down Transcontinental, and I had been out the night before, and I just wanted to get home and go to bed, and I was so unhappy. And I passed Celebration Church, and I didn't know what church this was. And everybody filing out was so happy, and they were so clean. Church was just letting out. And they had families with them, and a rage came up inside of me as I drove by this church. And I screamed out to God, I hate you, God.
We took her up on her offer, and we showed up one Sunday and didn't know what to expect. And when we pulled up to the parking lot, we were welcomed by greeters and ushers at the parking lot, welcomed with warm faces and handshakes and embraces at the door, which was very inviting and friendly and welcoming, and made us feel right at home.
As I was telling a friend yesterday, the people who I consider my closest friend, closer than family, are people I've met in the last 18 months right here at Celebration. You've given me an opportunity to serve where service is needed. When I ask if I can be of service, you let me. And therefore, I get the blessing of being of service to my church and to other people. And without it, my life would be completely different.
About a week later, I ended up in the emergency room near death. And a nurse came in, and she was about 50 years old. She had very kind eyes. I remember her eyes very clearly. And she shut the curtain, and she didn't do anything. She pulled up a chair, and she told me that I didn't have to live like this anymore. That if I surrendered my life to God, that He could help me, and He could heal me of all the hurts that I had stored up throughout my life. And I didn't even know where to start, and so the only kind of prayer that I could formulate was, all right, God, help me. And that was it. About a week later, someone from Celebration invited me to Celebration Church, told me the times, told me about the ministry of Celebrate Recovery, and I came. They gave me the address. And you can imagine my surprise when it was the very same church that I had driven by and told God to His face that I hated Him.
The music started, and I could feel something stirring in me that I had never felt before, and Gretchen, my wife, felt the same way, and we enjoyed Pastor Dennis's message that Sunday. I connected with him in many ways, similar backgrounds, and my wife and I, when we were done with the service, sat in the car for a few minutes in the parking lot, and we just looked at each other, and we knew that we had found a church home and a church family.
So this church has given me the ability to serve others. It's allowed me to show those that I lead through action that this is the way you get fulfillment. It's fulfilled my life and enabled me to fulfill a calling that God's had on me for some 25 years. And that's why I love my church.
I never could have imagined that day when I drove by this church, the blessings that were in store for me. God loved me enough to show me His love through the people of this church. And I often think, what if that person hadn't taken the time to invite me to this church? What if they hadn't just stopped and said, you know what, I think that girl needs Jesus. And stopped and said, hey, come to my church. We're a church that's loving. We can help you. We can show you the love of Christ. What if they hadn't done that? Where would my life be today? But then I found Celebration Church.
And then we found Celebration.
Wow, but then I found Celebration Church.